The call came at 2:17 a.m., slicing through the silence of his penthouse like a knife. Ethan Cole never picked up unknown numbers. But something about that ringtone, the way it echoed in the stillness, made him reach for the phone. Cole. His voice was hoarse. Deep, the sound of a man who never slept enough. A shaky voice answered, almost breaking. "She's leaving, sir." And you're the last name she spoke. For a moment, Ethan didn't breathe. The world stopped. His heartbeat, the ticking clock, even the city lights beyond his window blurred into nothing. "Who?" he asked, though he already knew. The voice trembled. "Lila. Lila Hart." The phone slipped from his hand and hit the floor. Lila Hart, the woman he'd built a wall against. The one who had made him feel something he thought had died years ago. She'd been his assistant for 4 years. Efficient, quiet, unshakably kind. She remembered how he liked his coffee, how to calm him before a board meeting, how to shield him from the press. But she'd also been the only one who dared to look past his coldness, and that was dangerous. She'd left 2 weeks ago without saying goodbye. Resigned through email, no reason, no closure, just gone. Now someone was telling him she'd spoken his name with her last breath. He was out the door before reason caught up with him. Rain slammed against the windshield as he sped down the empty highway. The streets of Manhattan were ghostly at that hour, and his mind was even darker. He called back the number. A man answered this time. "Mr. Cole, I'm Dr. Lawson from St. Francis Hospital. Miss Hart collapsed earlier tonight. She'd been sick for a while, and she refused treatment." Ethan's grip on the steering wheel tightened. "Why wasn't I informed?" The doctor hesitated. "She didn't list any family, just one name under emergency contact. Yours." The car swerved slightly. "I'm 5 minutes away," Ethan said, voice low, clipped. Shaking. When he entered the hospital, nurses froze. Everyone knew who he was, Ethan Cole, CEO of Cole Industries, a man whose net worth was bigger than most countries' GDP. But the man who walked into that room wasn't a billionaire. He was just broken. The doctor nodded toward the private room. "She's stable now, but you should know she refused to stay. She said she doesn't want you to see her." Ethan didn't listen. He opened the door. She was sitting by the window, pale light from the city spilling across her face. Lila looked fragile, too fragile for the woman who used to walk into his office with coffee and confidence, wearing a smile that made the entire floor less cold. Now, she looked like a ghost of herself. Her eyes met his, and for a long time neither spoke. "Ethan," her voice was soft, hesitant. "You shouldn't be here." He closed the distance between them in 3 long strides. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because it wasn't your problem. Everything about you has been my problem since the day you walked into my office," he snapped, then lowered his voice. "You resigned without warning, disappeared, and now I get a call saying you—" "I didn't want pity," she interrupted, tears filling her eyes. "I just wanted to live quietly for whatever time I had left." He froze. "Time left?" She looked down at her trembling hands. "Stage 4 lymphoma. I found out 6 months ago. The air left his lungs. You still came to work," he whispered. "I didn't want you to know," she said. "You already had too much on your shoulders." He let out a short, bitter laugh. "You think I'd care about mergers and investors when the one person who made my life bearable was dying?" Her lips quivered. "You were never supposed to care, Ethan." "But I did." Silence. Heavy, suffocating. Then he sank to his knees in front of her chair. "You have no idea how much I've been trying not to." Her hand trembled as it brushed against his jaw. "You don't mean that. Lila, I've spent my whole life controlling everything. People, emotions, outcomes. But you—" His voice cracked. "You were the one thing I couldn't control. And I hated it. Because every time you smiled, every time you walked into my office, I forgot who I was supposed to be." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Then why did you let me go?" He closed his eyes. "Because I thought you'd be safer far away from me." Her breath hitched. "You think love is danger?" "For me, it always was." "Then maybe you never really tried it." He stayed by her side that night. When she dozed off, he looked around her room. A small bag, a half-read book, and a letter with his name written on it. He hesitated, then opened it. "Ethan, if you're reading this, I probably didn't make it to morning. I just wanted to say thank you for being the reason I smiled every day, even when I knew the end was coming. You'll never admit it, but you have a good heart. Maybe someday you'll let someone see it. Please don't come looking for me. I don't want my last memory of you to be pity. Lila, his chest tightened so hard he thought it might split. He folded the letter and slipped it into his pocket. I'm not leaving you, he whispered. Not now, not ever. Over the next few weeks, Ethan's life changed completely. He rearranged meetings, canceled international trips, and quietly moved her into a private care suite overlooking the river. When his board members questioned his absence, he only said, "Some investments are more important." At first, Lila protested, "You're running an empire. Ethan, you can't waste time here." He smiled faintly. "You built half of it for me. I think I can spare the other half for you." She didn't argue after that. There were good days and bad. On good days, she'd tease him for being bossy, and he'd read to her from the stack of novels she never finished. On bad days, he'd just hold her hand until she fell asleep, pretending not to notice the way she winced with every breath. Sometimes she'd whisper, "You deserve someone healthy, someone whole." He'd kiss her forehead and say, "I already found her," and she'd cry, because she knew the truth, and so did he. One night, months later, she woke him from the chair beside her bed. "Ethan?" Her voice was weak. He took her hand instantly. "I'm here. Promise me something. Anything. When I'm gone." She swallowed hard. "Don't let the world make you cold again." He pressed her hand to his heart. "Not possible. You ruined me for that." She smiled, faintly, beautifully. "Then I did something right." She passed away 3 days later, peacefully holding his hand, whispering his name. For weeks, Ethan didn't speak to anyone. He shut down meetings, canceled parties, disappeared from the press. The world called him unstable and broken, unfit. But none of that mattered. He spent his nights reading her letter, over and over. Until one morning, he found another envelope she'd hidden in her drawer. Inside was a note and a small key for the garden behind the hospital. "I used to sit there when I couldn't breathe. If you ever miss me, come there. The roses will tell you what I can't anymore." That evening, he drove to the hospital garden. The air smelled like rain and lilac, her favorite scent. He found a small plaque beneath a rose bush. "Lila Hart. She made the coldest man remember how to feel." He sank to the ground, tears blurring his vision. "You didn't just make me feel, Lila," he whispered. "You made me human." The wind rustled through the roses, and for a second he swore he could hear her laugh. He smiled through the tears. "All right, Hart, I'll try." Then he stood, straightened his jacket, and walked away, not as the CEO everyone feared, but as the man she loved.